Welcome back. Ahead of next week's crucial budget, what would you like to say to Finance Minister Michael Noonan? We asked shoppers at the Whitewater Centre in Newbridge and the Community Centre in Fatima what they'd like to say.
Public and private sector without any more cuts.
Dear Michael, please don't touch the car tax. Please do not do anything with the medical card. It's tough enough as it is. Christmas is coming, ho ho.
Dear Michael, please don't increase the contribution that people have to pay towards the DPS drug scheme each year. €120 is a lot of money out of one person in a household wage, and I really don't think it's fair to put any more money on it.
Dear Michael, please don't make any cuts to social welfare because there's already so many people struggling.
Dear Michael, how much more can the country of Ireland take with all these cutbacks? The young people are leaving the country and everything. I have a son that is thinking of going to Australia because he can't get work there. All the people that are getting cut by medical cards, children's allowance, there's no more we can give. We just haven't got it anymore.
Dear Michael, I'd like to think that you would consider the adults who have returned to education when you're considering what you might spend money on. I work in adult education in the Rialto Inchicore area, and we have a lot of people coming back to education and they're upskilling, people who left school early. So I would hope that you would keep the cuts to a minimum in that area, that you really would protect the people who are in the most vulnerable situations.
Dear Michael, can you stop hitting the working class people and bailing out the bankers? Because every time there's a budget, it's the unreliable, the working class that get hit, the local communities, that we have a lot of volunteer people, CE scheme workers, and they're being cut left, right and centre, while these top executives get their bonuses, get their pay rises, and we, the working class, enough is enough now.
Now, whatever happens in the budget next week, homeowners won't be immune from the bad news that property prices have fallen this year by over 15%.
To compound matters, new ESRI figures indicate that prices are set to fall for another 2 years, and they're advising young couples to rent rather than buy. We're joined by our Property Watch experts, Carl Dieter from Irish Mortgage Brokers and Angela Keegan from myhome.ie. Very good morning to you both. Thanks for coming on. Angela, it's been all over the papers this week. Do not buy, continue to rent. The ESRI saying a significant adjustment still to be made, with economists saying now 9% next year house prices are set to fall.
I think it's very difficult to put a figure on it, and I think our last report was the beginning of October this year, and in that we highlighted that prices have been falling for the last 5 years. So with that backdrop, you know, prices are not going to continue to fall forever. However, we heard yesterday that unemployment has gone up again. It's up by another 0.1%, so another 1,700 people are unemployed. We're also hearing that there's another, I think it's 7,000 will come out of the average household over the next 3 years through the budgets. And we also yesterday we saw that the mortgage lending to the consumer sector is also down. So given, you know, even those three things, you can't, I don't see prices stabilising anytime soon. So in one sense, I'm a little bit surprised at the sweeping statement. In another sense, I'm not surprised at the sentiment that we're not seeing the market stabilising, or we're not expecting prices to rise anytime soon. Yeah,
as a follow-on, it was said that if the market shows any signs of stabilising, then maybe 2012 would be a time to buy.
And you've got to look, I suppose there's two sides of the coin. We've pointed out the negatives, point out the positives. And the positives are interest rates are going down. Also, I saw a report yesterday, I think it was the EBS DKM Affordability Index, which is showing that affordability is right back, I think it's to the mid-1990s. I think on average about 12.5% of joint income is what's required nationally to service a mortgage. In Dublin it's up to about 14%, which is down from well over 30% at the peak of the market. So for buyers who are in secure employment, who can access a mortgage, they're probably able to buy their dream home for a fraction of what they dreamt about a number of years ago.
But that's if they can access a mortgage.
That's what they can get a mortgage.
Exactly.
Are they saying that, Carl, you'll be an expert on this, that the level of mortgages that they're giving out is back at 1971?
Around 1971, and something interesting is actually 1972, because that was the year that we had a 6-month bank strike, and even in that year with the banks being closed, we actually did more lending then than we are today. I would say there's a few things, though, that we have to look at. What the ESRI said wasn't rent instead of buy as a blanket solution. It was that if we have a repeat of this year in terms of price drops, that renters may be better off. And when you look at index prices, it's also important to remember that apartments are in that index. So there's aspects of this that can paint a very bleak picture, but in fact, on the ground, the stock of properties that a first-time buyer might want in parts of Dublin city centre represent less than 2% of the stock that is available for sale. And in terms of mortgage finance, yesterday morning, along with many other brokers and some of the top estate agents in the country, we were all called into AIB, and they said that they are actually not lending enough. So I think that what you're going to see next year is at least some aim of getting more credit into the market. And for that reason, I have actually every confidence that 2012 will, in retrospect, be a good year to buy, because we're now into year 5 of price drops. The other country that would have had something nearly as bad as what we've had in terms of length and the size of the fall-offs was the Netherlands, and they had a 7-year peak to trough. That's the longest. Normally these things resolve themselves from peak to trough in about 3 years. Okay. Now we're well beyond that.
We're in fourth year.
With Japan being the exception. We're actually in year 5 roughly at this point.
But Carl, what about, does NAMA have 8,000 properties, so 6,000 of those are apartments that they're looking to offload?
Absolutely.
So they could just flood the market at any stage with these properties.
True, and NAMA have the capacity to actually break the market at any point in time. I don't think that they will, because it would have a negative impact on what their agenda is. And let's not forget, when you said the number of properties that they have, the majority of them are not stock that first-time buyers want. They're not stock that people with families want. That stock is actually not being created. We're not building 3-bed semis. We're not building, 4-bed detached houses. But that's what people aspire to. So I think we're going to have two property markets. One is apartments, and their price will be low and will remain low, but will provide essential housing for people who want to do something else with their life, or who want to save and live in a cheap accommodation, and then you'll have housing.
Okay, Angela, Carl's just mentioned 3 bedrooms and 4 bedroom semis. It looks like next year there might be 10,000 completed units going on the market.
This year we would expect the number of transactions to finish at around 13,000. 10,000 completed units and new stock coming on is really, really light. If you look back to 2006, it was probably very abnormal, but it was 90,000. Our view would be that around 40,000 would be what would be required. Now, you look at some reports from the Construction Industry Federation, etc., which are showing that there's a number stock in some areas which would take you up to 2013, 2014. But we also know that in Dublin, the amount of new builds that we will actually be running out of stock. I think it's around middle of next year. And Carl is perfectly right. We see it on the site every day. And certainly well-established locations within proximity, on good transport links near the city, it's very difficult to find 3- and 4-bedroomed family homes coming up for sale. People are satisfied with what they have. They're in good locations. Perhaps they're sitting on a tracker mortgage, which they also want to hold on to. And we are then seeing in other areas oversupply of apartments, and people, particularly first-time buyers now, don't need to buy an apartment, and we know they're looking for the 3-bed semi with the back garden.
But at the end of the day, you might want a 3-bed semi, but if the banks aren't lending, and there's all this uncertainty. I mean, I'm hearing of people that are putting their euros into sterling. They're, because they're not sure what's going to happen. If they can't get money, and if they're uncertain, they're still not going to buy the 3- or 4-bed semis.
I think there's a few things have to happen. I think if we look outside of the country first, we're going to have to see a solution to the euro crisis, and I think that's a given. We have to find a solution. I think the budget, as difficult as it might be, we need to see the government really make some strong decisions to get the economy back in order, and I think those things have to happen. The banks have to begin to free up some cash. Confidence needs to be restored, and for me the key word in this is confidence. Without confidence, I can't see the market returning to any level of normality in the short term.
Very quickly, Carl, do you think that there's going to be anything in the budget for stamp duty reduction or anything?
I think, unfortunately, this budget will primarily be about dishing out pain rather than any pleasure. The good news is, for Ireland and probably the world, is that on the 8th of December we're likely to see a rate cut, and it could actually be greater than the 0.25% expected. And on the 9th, you've got the EU summit. And I do believe that we are going to come out of this still in the euro. The idea that it's all over, I just don't buy into it, because it will be a catastrophic ending for a lot of people. So when you
don't
take
be
all
rushing
those,
to change, get your sterling or your dollars adjusted.
Sterling could equally have a huge price fluctuation, and then your money gets destroyed anyway. So you need good financial advice if you're doing that kind of thing. Acting on fear alone is not good. Okay. And I actually don't think that there's that much to be fearful for, because we have gone through most of the heavy lifting. Most of the bad stuff, I do believe, is behind us.
Okay, Carl, Angela, thank you very much for coming in to talk to us.
Thank you. Now, have you got your dress for the Christmas party season? Our trendsetter will be revealing her top buys for the festive season. See you in a couple of minutes.
Welcome back. As it's the 1st of December, I think we can safely discuss Christmas and the party season.
That's right, and for the party season, you need a party dress. So we asked our trendsetter, Yvonne Hogan, to reveal her top buys and bargains. Good morning to you, Yvonne.
Good morning.
And these are dresses for the over 30s.
Well, yeah. Well, the problem with party dresses is you don't want to spend an absolute fortune on them, but you want something good for your money. And when you're over 30, your options decrease. Generally, the high street tends to cater for the younger people, but there are a couple of shops that are doing a really good job at catering for the over 30. You know, if you want something, you don't even have to be over 30, just if you want something respectable and nice and that you get a couple of wears out of.
Yeah, not just for Christmas, you want to wear it a few times.
Exactly, yeah. So we did a shoot with them, Carried Down in Lily's Bordello, and they have actually Carried Down in one of the shops that are doing a really, really good job at responding to the recession and at meeting the needs of, you know, the people with a bit of cash in their pockets, which is generally the 30-somethings. Okay. So they have, it's actually, it's very, like, if you remember A-Ware about 10 years ago, you could go in and you buy 5 or 6 things because the buyer was so good. Carrying Down is like that at the moment. Whoever's doing their buying is really on the ball.
So all the dresses we're showing today, they're all under €90.
They're all under €90. Now they're available from Carried Down, but also from other outlets. It's just, it's not just Carried Down.
Okay.
But
let's take a look at our first dress.
Well, what are the trends? Is it still sequins and glitter, or because this looks quite
well, it is sequins
elegant.
and glitter, but it's not for everyone. The sequins and the glitter aren't for everyone. I wouldn't be a huge fan of them myself. As you said, that's elegant. You want something elegant and respectable. So this Vela dress is $49.95, and it's also available in black. And that's accessorised with a night and day necklace, which is $89.95. But what's nice